What's up YouTube? This is Bystander X79 guys, and I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for July 2020. And today guys, we're going to be looking at my updated Crusadia deck. Crusadia is, in my opinion, one of the more underrated rogue decks in the rogue tier. The deck is combo and link centric, but it does its job very well. Going first, you can put up a board with a lot of different interruptions that can protect their monsters as well as cause problems for their opponent. On the flip side, you go in second, you have the ability to OTK your opponent and just basically break their boards apart and swing for some seriously big damage. The deck is also insanely flexible, allowing you to incorporate other things like the Guard Dragon engine or maybe some other cards into the deck to really help it get going. And this, in my opinion, is one of the best decks for a lot of beginning or returning players that want to learn the link mechanic to basically invest money in. The deck is very cheap. A lot of the cards are common or super rare, just allowing you to be able to gain access to those resources, and building that can save you a lot of money and also allow you to invest in some more powerful tech cards that can actually help this deck and put it over the top. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into this, and we're going to start off with the monsters. Crusadia monsters. There are 5 different main deck Crusadia monsters. We're running all 5 and at 3 copies each. The primary reason why we want to run so many Crusadia monsters in the deck is because we want to have at least 2 Crusadia monsters in our opening hand. One to normal summon and link off, and then the other one to basically utilize with its effect. All the main deck Crusadia monsters do have the effect that they can special summon themselves to a zone a link monster points to in defense position. So it just allows you to continue the play string and combo strings with your link monsters moving forward. Arborea is a level 3 tuner monster for the Crusadia archetype, and that allows you to access a lot of level 6 or even level 7 synchro monsters to add into your extra deck if you want to add a few more synchro monsters in there. Very good. I only run 1 right now. We'll get to the one I'm going to cover in a bit. Arborea also has another great effect. If one of your Crusadia cards will be destroyed by card effect or battle, you can banish her from the graveyard and protect those cards from being destroyed. She does her job. The protection is great, and it just helps this deck go. Moving next, we got 3 copies of Crusading Draco. Draco, when he leaves the field, he can target a Crusadia monster in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. Typically, the best strategy to do is the Crusadia monster you first normal summon to link off. That's the monster you bring back, so you can actually special summon it again. Primarily because the Crusadia effect that allows you to special summon these cards to a zone a link monster points to is only once per turn for each monster. So if you utilized the first normal summon as a link material, you can actually bring it back and still special summon it during the same turn. Three copies of Crusadia Leonis. Leonis, very awesome card. When a link monster points to it, the link monster gains an additional effect. It can inflict piercing damage. Very awesome, especially if your opponent likes to put monsters in defense position. Just to be able to get that extra amount of damage does help out. And of course, we also have Crusadia Maximus. Maximus, well, it's on the field and being pointed to by a link monster. The link monster can actually inflict double the battle damage. So Leonis Maximus being pointed to by a link monster definitely is something that you might want to try to have. It is pretty ideal, and it can allow you to inflict some serious damage on your opponent. But typically Maximus would be more than enough, especially if another really powerful monster paired with it on the field. That's being pointed to by a link monster. Alright, we got one more link monster, one more Crusadia monster here. Crusadia Reclusia. Reclusia can target itself and another card on the field, destroy them both, allowing you to basically clear out problematic cards on the field and just allow you to continue your play strings. The effect doesn't come up enough, but it does come up. So be careful with that. We have 3 copies of Untitled Dragon and Phantasme. This is one of my tech cards that I love in this deck. The majority of decks that are out there are going to be running the Synchro engine, which kicked off with the summoning of Hacrofibrax. When you summon Phantasme onto the field, because of Hacrofibrax's summoning, you can actually then draw cards equal to that Link Monster's Link rating, which is 2, plus an extra card, and then you place the same number of cards back onto your bottom of the deck, so you can actually fix your hand to help you be able to break your opponent's board that's coming, or even interfere with it more. So, very awesome. It also can protect your own Link Monsters from being targeted by card effects, and it has 2400 attack, which is a pretty beefy body, because all the Crusadia Link Monsters power themselves up with the monster's attack that they point to. So, very, very useful. To help break boards, we got the Kaiju package. I'm running Gamercio, Kamungus, Rhydon, and Dogoran in this deck. All of them contribute off one of your opponent's monsters and then be summoned to the field in their place, taking off negates and other cards and other effects that could cause your combo strings to fail. So always worth having these cards in your deck just to take away powerful cards from your opponent. And then last but not least, we do have World Legacy World Crown. Just like the Crusadia monsters can special summon itself to a zone of Link Monster points to, and then if your opponent has a monster special summon in the extra deck and it activates the effect, you can actually tribute it off to negate that monster's effect for the rest of the turn. Helps out so well, and it's just an additional negate on your board to interfere with your opponent. Moving forward, we got into the spells. We got 3 copies of Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave is mandatory in this deck. You want to have it because you don't want hand traps to basically interfere with your combo strings. So this definitely is a great anti-hand trap card, but you can also use this more defensively, especially if you're going first. If your opponent dumps specific cards into the graveyard, you can actually flip this card and banish those cards from your opponent's graveyard to prevent your opponent from using that monster or that monster's effects for the rest of the turn, so they can't break through your boards. Such an important card and a very useful tool in pretty much every deck. We have Crusadia Power. Allows you to target a Crusadia monster on your field. It's unaffected by other card effects except for its own. Pretty good protection if you only have one. That's when we only run 1 copy of it. We got 1 copy of Crusadia Revival. This is the field spell for Crusadia's power boosts all your Crusadia Link monsters by 500 attack. Extra attack doesn't help. I mean, it does help a lot sometimes. And also, it allows you to target one of your Link monsters. It can attack all your opponent's monsters once per turn. Other monsters you control can't attack, but still, very useful attack, especially if you're looking to OTK your opponent. Get a couple of powerful monsters pointing to your Link monster. With Maximus, you get the idea, double damage. Last but not least, we also have 2 copies of Crusadia Testament. Testament basically protects your Crusadia monsters from being interfered with by your opponent's card effects, which is just an amazing quick play spell to have. Also, if your Crusadia monsters inflict battle damage to your opponent, you can actually then draw cards equal to the Link monster that attacks Link rating, so you can draw additional cards to be able to draw more interferences, or at least see more cards to get more options for your following turn. So it does help out the deck a lot in that regards. 2 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Blows the field, or can act as a bait for a negate. While this card's in the graveyard except for the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, search your deck for another Kaiju to add to your hand. Again, breaking boards, just an amazing thing to do. We got Monster Reborn. Pretty self-explanatory. Gets you monsters back from either player's graveyard so you can extend your plays. Pot of Avarice, this deck can drop a lot of monsters into your graveyard, so being able to recycle them back into the main deck or extra deck to get a +1, definitely worth it. Reinforcement of the Army, because it allows you to access Maximus, which is a warrior type monster. And World Legacy Secession, allowing you to bring back a monster to a zone like monster points to, just to help extend plays. Crusadia Crawler for the traps. What can I say? It can allow you to search out your Crusadia spells and traps, which is actually very awesome. Acts as an additional body on the board for link summoning, so definitely worth having on the field. And then last but not least, to help interfere with your opponents, we are running 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. It's pretty much a self-standard hand trap for the game, just to be able to shut down your opponent's monsters' effects, or even maybe problematic back row as well, depending if it's in the same column. So definitely worth having in the main. That's the main. We're going to go into the extra. 2 copies of Crusadia Magus. Like I said before, the Crusadia Link monsters all gain the attack of the monsters they point to, which is awesome. The original attack, mind you. Magus, when you special summon a monster to a zone it points to, you get to search your deck for another Crusadia monster. So there's the consistency part of the deck, allowing you to be able to search other monsters to continue your play strings. We got 2 copies of Crusadia Regulix. Special summon a monster to a zone and points to, and you're going to be able to search your deck for a Crusadia spell or trap to add to your hand. Very useful. 2 copies of Acromax. Acromax is your OTK machine. You can also tribute off a Crusadia monster it points to negate one of your opponent's monster's effect for the rest of the turn, which is actually very awesome. But mostly you're going to be having it pointed to a lot of different powerful monsters. It gains those monsters' attack, and then utilizing the field spell to start swinging over your opponent's monsters, which is just very awesome. We got Crusadia Avermax, or Mechanic Crusadia Avermax, which is very amazing card. When this card is linked someone on the field, your opponent cannot target it for any card effects. Also, your opponent cannot choose any of the monsters on the field as attack targets except for it, so it protects your monsters in a way. Going further, whenever this card battles your opponent's monster, it gains that monster's attack, adds it to its own, so it's always going to be able to beat over your opponent's monsters, no matter how big their attacks are. And furthermore, if this card ever does leave the field, you target 1 card and spin it back to the deck. So yeah, it does a lot of different things, and it's so worth having. Alright, to help build into your Avermax, we do have IP Masquerena, which basically makes it unkillable by various card effects. We're also going to be running 1 copy of Lib. Don't have her at the current moment. Mail's kind of slow in my area, so. But when Lib is link summoned and you have a World Legacy card in the graveyard, you are allowed to search your deck for other World Legacy support cards, which is very awesome. And if she's linked off of the field, you can target 1 card on the field and just basically send it back to your opponent, back to the hand. So she does a lot of work, and her and Masquerena, just to make Avermax, does help out in busting up boards and getting you a big monster. This deck doesn't like being the bureau, but in case you are, 1 copy of Link Spider allows you to basically utilize the token as Link Fighter, and then you can continue your plays because, like I said, with the Crusadia monsters, as you can actually special summon into his own monster points and then start climbing into other links from that point. To help combat certain decks, we do have Topological Trisbania as well as Topological Zerbus. Trisbania, special summon a monster to his own it points to, and you're destroying and banishing all cards on the back row, which actually can be very detrimental in particular matchups, specifically back row heavy decks like Eldritch, maybe Google Control, True Draco, Altergeist. And of course you have Zerbus. Zerbus can basically just clear the field, completely banish everything. And not only that, but when you special summon it back to your field during your next standby phase, you bring it back to the center zone, and any extra monster zone it points to is basically locked out, and your opponent cannot special summon to those zones, which is just even worse for your opponent. In our level 4s, we do run a couple of rank 4 monsters, pretty self-explanatory. Abyss Dweller as well as Baguska. Abyss Dweller can shut down graveyard-based effects, which is very important in a lot of different matchups. But Baguska is just there to stall your opponent out so you can actually be able to build into other things later. And last but not least, we have the Synchro. I run FA Dawn Dragster. Primary reason because it does negate spells and traps, and that effect can come in handy in various matchups. And just being able to put out that much of a Synchro monster is very great. So guys, this is it for my Crusadia deck for the July 2020 format. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe, enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the links to my affiliates, tcgplayer.com, as well as sidedeckversus.com. Great resources for any Yu-Gi-Oh player. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Reddit. And if you guys want to help grow my community to even greater heights, the invite link to my Discord server is also in the description box below. Join the conversation. We'll love to have you. As always, guys, until next time, peace.